Hello. Hi, Scott. I know you for a long time. Wow, I'm seeing so many people that I've known. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, please forward them to uh, info at the 7 Minute Life and they'll get back to you. This is a brand new technology called Zoom.us, and it is absolutely free, and I have nothing to do with it. So, Zoom.us, you may want to get involved in that. And I see some people are raising their hand. And so you can also do that, but I will not really be able to answer those questions until the end. So if you will, let me know how to do that and we will get going. So I'm going to make sure that all the participants are muted and we're going to get going. Awesome. Well, this is going to be a very exciting, I don't even know what to say about it. The 2016 is only a few days away, and it's just shocking to me to know that a whole new opportunity is coming along, and I am incredibly excited to share with you personal goal setting for 2016. So I'm going to share my screen, and you should be able to see everything that I'm seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and start the slideshow. All right, there we go. Now, again, if any of you have any questions, please forward them to info, I-N-F-O, at the 7 Minute Life with the number 7. So I'm going to, I hope, bring new insight into 2016. So this is goal setting from the 7 Minute Life, and I'm Allyson Lewis, founder of the 7 Minute Life. I've had so much fun over the last decade writing books about time management and really just digging into things that affect people during their daily life. There are 24 hours in a day, and time really is life. Time is something that we treasure. It is how we experience the 24 hours that we have. So back in 2006, I began to publish books on time management. I needed it for myself. I wanted to reconnect with my own purpose and values, and I especially wanted to understand my goals. And I will share one piece of exciting news. The 7 Minute Solution has become a bestseller in Taiwan, and we're very excited about that. So now you can see the Chinese version there. So this is what we're going to be talking about. First, I want to answer the question, what is a goal? And then I want to talk about personal goals that you want to achieve in 90 days. Personal goals are incredible. Usually we're talking about work goals, but with the brand new year starting, I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to share with you several of the 7 Minute Life time management and goal setting tools to help you personally. And then I think it's important to bring these things to life, to actually give you examples of written goals. When I'm teaching for corporations, it's interesting to me that I hand out the sheet that really it looks like this. It's a personal goals worksheet. And I'm surprised that a lot of people don't even know what their personal goals need to be. And so I'm going to give you those examples. And then I'm going to walk you through taking a goal all the way to completion. And there's steps involved in that. And that means we're going to move from goals to projects to microactions to completion. And then we're going to learn how to track your progress with a single sheet of paper. That's pretty exciting. And finally, we're going to take a conclusion. So as people are logging on, the response to this was enormous. We had over 300 people sign up since yesterday afternoon. And so if this is something that you find helpful, make sure that you forward that email to your family and friends and have them log on for the 6 p.m. meeting. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. What is a goal? I think it's really elusive because so many times when I'm looking at people's business, I see something that looks like this. It's some kind of strategy or wireframe that they've put together that really, when you look at that, it's incredibly confusing. And for most people, it's meaningless. So I believe that personal goals, you have to really step back and ask yourself, who are you today? There has to be a launching point for you to understand who you are today. What does that person look like? Are you happy? Do you understand your purpose? What are you looking for in 2016? Do you want to be more organized? Do you want to be in the very best physical shape of your life? Are you hoping to restore that faith that you need to move your life forward? Or are your personal goals in the next 90 days that you just want to get your house cleaned up or learn how to play golf or find out how to do Adobe Photoshop? And I think that a lot of people have to look at themselves and say, I can't do those things. And so today we're going to be talking about how you can do those things. And the excitement that I have is when we look at where we are today, we can ask another very powerful question. We can look into the future and we can ask, who do you want to be in 90 days? Really, it's amazing to me the power that that question has. Who do you want to be? In a very short period of time, not 5 years from now, not a lifetime from now. Those are different webinars. But who do you want to be in 90 days? Really, when was the last time you sat down with nothing but a pen and a piece of paper and asked these two questions? Well, these are the worksheets that we'll be sending you out about an hour and a half after this class. I think what makes the 7-minute difference and the 7-minute life so different is that we don't just tell you that you need to ask, who are you today? And we don't just share with you that it'd be a really good idea to ask, who do you want to be in 90 days? We actually have created these tools, these 2 pieces of paper that will begin the journey of exploring your own personal goals. Who are you today? What does that person look like? Because I believe that's where we start December 22nd of 2015. And then who do you want to be in just 90 days? There are a lot of things that can happen. So let me walk you through the fact that is the 2 most exciting things that we'll be talking about. In between who you are today and who you want to be in 90 days is potential. Potential to become, potential to be, potential to feel and experience life again. But only goals can do that for you. Now, I want you to take a look at this. For most people, they'll see squiggly lines that are meaningless to them. And I think that's what most people see as personal goals. They write something down, but somehow they're just meaningless. And what I want you to understand is that today, we are not going to be talking about just meaningless goals. We're going to help you take these vague, squiggly lines in your life, and we're going to begin to help you understand that they can actually become something. That they can actually become something. Let me put that back up. I obviously hit a button that will not make it go. So let me help you understand this. When I click on annotate, hopefully this will work. I can help you understand. Well, I can't. When you go back, obviously this is live. I love live. So we'll get back to where we were. Potential is an important part. So what do you see? These 3 squiggly lines are actually the outline of the letter E. If you look at the top and you draw an imaginary line just to the left of that top line and then draw another line down, you'll see the letter E. And what I want you to understand is what become vague goals right now, we're going to turn into concrete goals, goals that can make a difference in your life. So what are some examples of those personal goals? Yesterday, I created a word cloud for an article that I had written for a magazine. And it was about goal setting. And I think people struggle with knowing what to do with their goals because they're not sure what their goals should be like. So I put some of those things in this slide. Many people look to have family as one of their goals. They want to enjoy more time with their family. They want to understand how they can improve their own personal health. They want to learn. They want to experience life. They want to focus on exercise or renewing their faith. What is it that you want to be? Who can you be in 90 days? But these are some really great places to start. So I want to share with you the first 4 steps to setting a goal. Now, I'm going to give you just a moment to write these things down. because I really want you to follow on with what we're doing. You may need a pen and a piece of paper. Now, as we go through this, in the last 15 minutes of this webinar, we're going to share with you an idea that I've come up with that I believe no one has ever seen before. It has been life-altering for me. I believe it's going to be life-altering for you, about how goals can actually function, how you can move from where you are today to that completion that you want to have. But I'm going to start with the very basics. So I believe there are 4 things that must have to happen to move a goal along. The very first thing is that you have to have an idea. Is your idea that you want to be in the best shape of your life, or that you want to read more or get credentials or go back to school? What is that idea? And then you have to clarify that idea. And again, I think this is way too messy. When you're clarifying, I think you really want to narrow down on a piece of paper like this, but not with quite this much detail, but you want to clarify what you want to accomplish in writing. And I would do that typically with a piece of paper and a pen. And this is where we're going to begin to be a little different. You have to have a written plan, even for your personal goals. And you're going to move from your personal goals down into the projects, down into the individual projects, and we're going to move those into microactions. And I'm going to be completely explaining each one of these. But the final thing is that you have to have a deadline. And so again, we're going to be sending out this package. And I want you to understand that we function in 90-day goals. And people often ask us, why 90-day goals? Well, 90 days for most people is how corporate earnings are released. But also, we've built this 90-day platform on nature. Right now, we're in winter, and soon there'll be spring, and then summer, and then fall. I believe it's really important to follow along with your goals, just as the cycles of life. When I have a tough quarter, I can understand that there's going to be a new season, a new 90 days, not far away, that I can start over and re-energize and recommit to those personal goals that I want. So I do believe following along and keeping track of your deadlines are very important. Again, if you're taking notes, now we're going to be moving from goals to projects to microactions to completion. This is where I think people skip. They start with a goal on January 1st, and they can see the completion, but they don't know how to move from who they want to be to where they want to be. Now, I've used work goals in this. I should have changed it, but there are 4 steps. You have to move it from a goal to a series of projects to meet that goal. And you take each project and you break it down into individual projects, and then we move to microactions. So let me give you an example of one of my goals. One of my personal goals is that I want to be in the very best physical shape of my life. I want to know when I wake up in the morning, I have energy from sleeping well. I want to know that I'm hydrated. I want to know that I have that excitement to reach my potential for that day and for that quarter. So one of my goals is to be in the best physical shape of my life. So as we send you these pages, 90-day personal goals, I want you to write down what you want to become in present tense as though it's already happened. I am in the best physical shape of my life. Now I'm going to grab some of these, and I know you won't be able to see it, but this is a page of my personal goals. And so I handwrite them, and you'll see that I put things with them. So let me give you some examples of my personal goals. One of them is that my faith is renewed and restored. There are times that I just feel, kind of beaten up. I go through tough things, and I want to believe in more. The second goal that I have is I am in the best physical shape of my life. The first one is that I finished the manuscript for a new book that I'm writing that I'm super excited about. It's a little bitty book. The fourth thing is that I spend quality time with my children. Number 5, I bet a lot of you can relate to this. My home is clean and clutter-free. My home is clean and clutter free. Number 6, I read and learn. I absolutely love learning, and I hope you're going to be learning today. And then I take photography lessons. These are the things that I want personally in my life. So let's just take this one. I am in the best physical shape of my life. That'll go on that first page, personal goals. You may have up to 7. I've just listed the 7 that I have. So let's take number 1. I am in the best physical shape of my life. So when you take that from a goal down to the second page, you're going to be breaking those goals down into projects that you need to do to accomplish that. It's interesting when I'm coaching people, first, remember they have a difficult time even coming up with their goals. And second, they can only write them down. They write down 7 goals. Okay, so I want to be in the best physical shape of my life. And they expect to do that by the end of the 90 days or by the end of the year, but they've never broken down how they're going to do that. So I take that to the second page. In order to become in the best physical shape of my life, I have to create projects. I have to have individual steps or projects to take me there. So in order to be in the best physical shape of my life, I've written down 5 actions. Number 1, I walk 2 miles 4 days a week. 2, I do calisthenics 2 times a week. 3, I walk my dogs 20 minutes a day. Action, I drink 60 ounces of water. You can see I'm a big water drinker. And if I want to be in the best physical shape of my life, I sleep 8 hours per day. Now, I want you to look at those. We've had a big weather change. It's gone from 30 degrees to 60 degrees, so I'm really thirsty today. But I want you to look at those. The reality is I'm not there yet. These are goals. This is my potential for the next 90 days. I'm actually doing better, but am I walking 2 miles 4 times a week? Not yet. Am I doing calisthenics 2 times a week? Yes. I have a personal trainer that I meet with on Mondays and Wednesdays. So yes, I'm doing that. Do I walk my dog every day? Usually. Do I drink 60 ounces of water every day? Yes. I drink like 70 or 80 ounces of water. But this is the one that gets me. I sleep 8 hours a day, not hardly. I get so excited that I really struggle with having really good sleep hygiene, going to bed at the same time, and getting up at the same time. But these are goals. These are things that I want to do. And by breaking down, I am in the best physical shape of my life into the actions I know I need to do, I think that's great. So that's very helpful in moving from a goal into some projects or actions that I can take. But can I just take the project I walk 2 miles 4 days a week? No, I can't even do that. That's still a goal. It's not even an action that I can take. It's yet another project or another goal. So I further break that down on this third page, which is individual project details or individual actions that I need to take or individual steps that I take to be in the best physical shape of my life. So I can't do this. I can't just say I'll walk 2 miles per day, 4 days a week. That again is a goal. It is not an action step. So I took that and I said, how? How can I assure myself that over the next 90 days, I will be able to walk 2 miles a day, 4 times a week? So this is what I did. I further broke this down into additional steps. And I'll be sending you this slide deck so you don't have to write a lot down. But I believe when you hold these pieces of information in your hand, you will see the power of what we're doing. Remember, the first part of the goal was that I'm in the very best physical shape of my life. The second step was that I broke that down into individual projects. But those projects really I can't take action on. They're again smaller goals. So I'm now taking that first project and I've broken it down into actual actions I can take. So let's look at those. The first thing I can do to ensure that I reach my goal of walking 2 miles a day, 4 times a week, is that I arrive at the gym to walk 2 miles before my training appointment. I can do that. On the other 2 days, I set a specific time of 4:30 as the time that I'm going to walk. Number 3, I walk on the concrete path behind my home. It's 1.6 miles, so it's a really easy way to go through a nature trail. It's beautiful. And then I use my Fitbit or any kind of tracking device to measure my daily steps. I want to make sure that I walk at least 2 miles a day. And by getting 10,000 steps, I walk between 4 and 5 miles a day. And the other thing I think is important about having accountability is that Reba and Audra are friends of mine that are accountability partners. We tend to walk together a couple of times a week. We talk, we clear our head, and it's great. So I then break that down into what we call microactions. And I really hope that if you have a pen and a piece of paper, you'll write down that single word, microactions. This is what changed my life, and this is what I believe is going to change your life as you go into setting your personal goals for the 2016. So what is a microaction? If you're wanting to walk, let's use that as an example, you have to break that down into something you can actually do. And we call that creating your 5 before 11 list. If I said I want to be in the best physical shape of my life, that would be meaningless. I have to break it down, any kind of goal, any kind of activity, in what we call our 5 before 11 list. And so that looks something like this. Let me grab my current book. I use this tool to help me. And so every day that I walk in, I have a 5 before 11 list. What 5 things do I want to do to accomplish all of my goals? And in order to use a microaction, which is a tiny step, there's some rules or boundaries. The first thing is that it has to be very clear. It has to be a completely clear activity or task that you can do. It has to be completed by one person, and that one person is you. I see a lot of people when they're planning out their day that they have a project they want to accomplish, but they're waiting on someone else to help them. So in work or in person, the only way you can take action is by taking action yourself, so it has to be completed by you. Now, the 7-minute life is very interesting. We find that through research that most people can't even pay attention for 7 minutes. So I hope if you're watching this webinar that I'll wake you up right now and say, put your pens down, put your email away, because this is a good thing. We're going to be talking just for a few minutes on microactions. And I think we have to bring that attention back. So in order to accomplish something, it has to happen with what is called your attentional bandwidth. And what we've learned is that attentional bandwidth is somewhere between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. It really maxes out. But the average person has something like 11 interruptions an hour. So how do you stay focused on getting something done? The task also has to be in alignment in your highest and best. You have to have a purpose and a passion of why you want to do this. You have to really understand what's going to motivate you, inspire you to accomplish these goals. And they have to utilize your own strengths. I'm really committed to getting in shape. And finally, it has to be started and completely finished. Within that 20-minute time zone, if you're going to use a microaction, you have to start it and complete it. And the final thing is that it has to move you toward your personal goal. So let me give you some examples of this project that I want to accomplish. Let me break this down into microactions. So I'm now taking my goal of being in the best physical shape of my life. I've then broken it down into projects of how to do that, one of which being I'll walk 2 miles 4 times a week. And then I've broken that down into smaller projects, but I can't even accomplish those projects. I've further now broken them down into microactions. So how does this work? How can I ensure that I'm going to actually achieve my goal of simply walking 2 miles 4 times a week? I think you'll see how simple this is, but my guess is most people aren't doing this. This is a really important goal for me. Many of you know that I was quite sick about in 2012. It's been a very hard recovery. And my guess is that all of you have been something or through something over the last 3 years or 10 years, and it's hard. I do have good news that I've lost 25 pounds because I'm really committed to this. But over the next year, I want to lose another 25 pounds. One of the ways I'm going to do that, part of my goal is to walk 2 miles 4 times a week. So now let me break that down completely. If I'm going to do that, I have to break it down into tiny, tiny things that I can do. So how hard is this? I choose my workout clothes the night before. I actually put them in my bathroom on a chair, and that takes me, 3 minutes. So it definitely fits in the definition of a microaction. I can do that between 2 seconds and 20 minutes, and it's part of my routine. Number 2, I set a timer to leave my home for the gym 30 minutes before I need to arrive. That takes like 1 minute. But how many times have you had a task that you really are committed to do, but you say those 5 most dangerous, just crazy, 5 most dangerous words in time management? I will do one more thing, just one more thing. And so all of a sudden, where you had good intention to leave 30 minutes ahead so you could get there on time, you just keep saying to yourself, I'll do one more thing. I'll return that email or that phone call. So I set a timer, and when it goes off, I leave. Number 3, I track the length, duration, and pace of my walking. Well, I can do that through this. Just as soon as I finish, I just hit a button. Again, that takes 3 minutes. I call my friends and set a time to walk. If it's one of those days where I haven't walked at the gym, I'll call Reba and Audra and say, hey, let's go walking around the track. Again, the phone call takes, 3 minutes, or the text message. And number 5 is that I track my daily exercise on an annual tracking worksheet. Those are microactions. Those are tiny steps. It is not doing the walking, which may take, 30 minutes. It's the how to. It's the how to achieve the goal. And so I want to ask a poll right now, if I can. Obviously, that's not going to pop up for me. I'm still using these things, but be aware that it's pretty powerful. We'll come back to them at the end. So how do you track yourself with a single piece of paper? Not only am I going to use an annual sheet, but I'm going to take this 90-day calendar worksheet that we'll be sending you, and I'm going to just mark off day by day by day. Did I work towards being in the best physical shape of my life? Did I meet with my trainer? Did I drink the 60 ounces of water? Did I go to bed on time? The power of a check mark is remarkable. The dopamine and the energy that's released when you have that check mark on that day is pretty powerful. When you do what you said you would do, your life can change. Now, I made a promise that as we move into the last part of this, that I'm going to teach you a philosophy or share with you a philosophy that is just, I don't even know how to explain it. I hope it will be as meaningful to you as it has been to me. When setting goals, it's one of the most important things you can do in your life. Who are you today, and who do you want to be 90 days from now? How important is that? I find myself that there are times that I just choose to be stagnant. If life is hard, I somehow choose to ruminate on that and wallow in that and make a physical choice that I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to know who I am today, and I'm going to stay that way. And I've decided, no, I want to look out and say, who am I going to be 90 days from now? And I think that happens through this method that it shakes me at my very core, and it has to do with ideas, goals, gaps, and bridges. And so let me begin to walk you through that. Today, we've shared a lot of comments and a lot of ideas of how you set a goal. First, you have to have the idea, then you have to clarify it, and then somehow you have to make a plan, and finally you set deadlines. And I think that's pretty standard, that we have an idea over here on the left where we are today. We get this spark. I am in the best physical shape of my life. We write it down in present tense as though it's already happened. And we look out and we see ourselves, that's illustrated by this little man on the mountain with his flag saying, yes, I achieved that goal. So those goals are pretty common. But what you may not know is that today you're standing where that person on the left is standing. You are that person kind of on the far side of who you want to be. And the person, again, on the right is that person you want to be. Allyson, today's December 22nd. I know I want to be in the best physical shape of my life. That's what's on the right. I can see that goal. I can see myself losing weight. I can see myself drinking water. I can see myself getting sleep that I need and working out with my trainer and friends. Unfortunately, there's a gap between who I am today and who I want to be in the future. And I want you to really look at that. Can you see gaps in your life? When we started this webinar, we started talking about personal goals. We said those personal goals might include your health. They might include spending more time with your family. They might include rediscovering your faith and walking in a way that brings you more meaning and purpose. You may just want to take up golf or learn how to cook or take a photography class. You may want to plan a vacation that you're going to take in 90 days. What are those personal goals that will, I don't know, bring back that engagement and excitement in life? Well, as you set those goals, there are gaps. And what I'm learning now is that the gaps have to be covered. You can't just hop over from where you are today to where you want to be in 90 days. You have to build bridges. And it's the bridges that are starting to get me really excited. And I've walked you through a very brief example of what it's like to stand on the left side and to begin to build bridges. The framework of those bridges are the action steps. If I want to be in the best physical shape of my life, I know I need to exercise. I know I have to drink water. I know I have to get the steps. So as I write those things down, I'm beginning to build the framework of the bridges. And that's where most people stop. But if I want to create a strong bridge, I then have to break my goals down into projects and my projects down into tinier action steps. And those action steps finally become microactions. And it's the microactions that allow us to take one step at a time. Can I put out my workout clothes? Yes, I'm one step farther down the bridge. Can I set a timer on my phone to leave for the gym? Yes, that's another tiny step. Can I set a time at 4:30 to walk around the concrete path behind my house? Yes, that's a tiny step. It's the tiny steps, the microactions that build the frame and help us walk across the bridges. So here's yet another example. I'm now sitting December 22nd on the left side of this. I've got an idea. The idea I've chosen in this, which I think will appeal to many of you, is that I want to get in shape. I've got the idea. I can clearly see it. Here's where I am today. I can also look out and see that person 90 days from today. Where am I today? I'm in pretty good shape. I want to get in great shape. Where do I want to be 90 days from today? I'm going to be in great shape. I'm going to be working on that goal to lose those final 25 pounds. It may take me a year, but I can see in 90 days that I'll be making progress toward that goal. And so there's the goal. I see it 90 days from today. That little man is waving the flag that I've accomplished it, or that little woman. There I am. I see it. But then I see the gaps. And what I want to share with you today is it's time to build the bridges. It's time to take those 4 steps of starting with a goal, breaking that down into projects, further breaking down every project into smaller projects, And then finally, setting those tiny steps that you can take action on. But what I think most people don't realize is that the gaps in their life are the very potential. Potential. Look at that word, potential. Potential is a powerful word. Don't you want to have the potential to be in the very best shape of your life? Can't you almost taste the potential, see the potential, feel it? These are the things in life. The gaps are the potential. And I think that we somehow take those gaps and we lose the fact that there's just this huge gap and we can't make it across. Potential is going to be a very important word for you in 2016. For me, building those bridges are the most exciting part of where I'm going. And as I take another sip of water, because yesterday it was 62 degrees here in Jonesboro, Arkansas, I'd like you to write in humongous letters, yet. The word yet is going to be my mantra for the 2016 and especially for the next 90 days. Yet is where you take that potential and you say, I just can't do it yet. Yet has this sensation that, well, I can't do it yet, but I can do it sometime in the future. I can't do it yet, but I'm going to do it. I can't do it yet, but I'm going to purposely set goals to accomplish that. Yet is where I am today. The word yet is a very positive example of potential that we can accomplish. So how do we accomplish that? We have to take action. And I mean real action. The word action is very closely paralleled with the word motivation. Motivation comes from the fact that it means to move forward. That's what motivation means. Well, it means to take action that moves you forward. Don't you want to be motivated starting right now, just before the holiday season and seeing January 1st right there? Don't you want to be motivated to hit the goals? Don't you want to feel that you can take action? Well, how do you do that? You can't just take big actions. You can only take tiny actions. Those tiny actions that can take place somewhere between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. You can do that. And every goal is reached by taking tiny steps across the bridge. Every goal. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if it's work or personal or family or health. Every goal that you will choose to write down is reached by taking one tiny step at a time. Olympic athletes don't just dream that they're going to go to the Olympics. Olympic athletes start maybe at the age of 10 or 12, and they look out and they see a single goal in their life. And they choose to take action, but they can't just go from being 12 to being in the Olympics. They go from 12 to working out every morning at 5 in the morning. If you want to be different, you have to choose to be different. Now, my goals aren't starting at 10 and being in the Olympics, but they're just as important to me. My personal goals and my work goals, I think, are what breathe life into me. I know that my personal goal just this last month was to set up this class, to learn the technology, to create the information. I've spent, 50, 60 hours putting this together. I couldn't just say, okay, I want to teach a class that I hope hundreds of people will attend, and hundreds of people have attended. There are just hundreds of people that need this information. And this is the 10 o'clock class. And I'm going to ask you to forward that email that we sent to you and ask hundreds more people to come to the 6 o'clock Central Time class. Because every goal I have is reached by a tiny step. And when I woke up this morning, I had that energy, that potential, that burning fuel to reach today's goals. I was excited about getting up this morning because I could clearly see the goals, the projects, the broken down projects, and the microactions. It's taking that action that invigorates me, that will invigorate you, that will change your life. One of the quotes from my book, The 7-Minute Difference, is that change happens in an instant. It happens the moment you decide to change. I'll say that one more time, just in case you're taking notes. Change happens in an instant. It happens the moment you decide to change. We've got a few more minutes left, probably 10 or so minutes. And I want you to really think about that. Change happens in an instant. It happens the moment you decide to change. Signing up for this webinar is a great first step. All it takes is deciding. You've decided to change. You've decided to take action on setting potential goals, on having that potential, that yet in your life. You can see it. And here's the differentiation. When we look at the art of goal setting, the idea of taking ideas to goals, to seeing the gaps, to seeing the potential, to creating the bridges, we come to that final step of doing. Let that sink in for a moment. You can have all the great goals that you want. You can create the most wonderful clarification. You can crystallize and clarify exactly who you want to be. You can create a written plan of action. You can break it down. But if I have those microactions of calling someone, of setting timers to get to the gym on time, of setting a time to walk, and I don't do it, my goals won't be achieved. It's the doing. And I think that's the hardest part. First, we don't know what to do. We don't even know what our goals are. But I really want you to understand that doing is what moves you across the bridge, taking those tiny steps, choosing to become the person you want to become. How exciting is it to see where you are today and who you want to be, and recognize that the gaps are not bad things. The gaps in your life are the potential to change, to set those personal goals, to become better, to become more in alignment with your purpose and your hope and your meaning, and not just finding fulfillment when you reach your goal, but finding that fulfillment every day as you take tiny steps. What do I want out of life? What's the purpose of everything that I do? The purpose in my life is to share hope, is to read and learn and to step back and think and create ideas like this so that I can share them with a world that is screaming out with sadness and feeling like they don't matter and feeling like they want more out of life, but they're stuck. This is my purpose in life. How long did it take me to create this webinar? 50, 60 hours. I couldn't just sit down and create this all at once. I had to have the goal. I had to break it down into projects. I had to take those projects down. And then I had to take them into microactions, and then I actually had to do them. When you received the email yesterday, I didn't want to send it to you a week ahead of time. I wanted to send it to you one day ahead of time and then 1 hour ahead of time because I wanted you to attend. I wanted you to take this first action. I wanted you to arrive and listen. I wanted you to do. Do is an action verb. And so what does all this mean, and why is it important for you to attend this? The final part of goal setting is doing what you said you would do. It's the doing. It's walking in every day and knowing with a crystal clear passion exactly what you need to do. The problem in life is when. When will you have time to get in the best physical shape of your life? When? How is your when? Most people's days are filled so packed from the moment they wake up until the moment they go to bed, they don't even have time to breathe. Are you one of those people? It hurts my feelings that when I wake up in the morning and I use this 7-minute, 15-minute increment worksheet, and today I've put down that I have a webinar at 10, and then I have a coaching class at 12:30, and then I have another webinar at 6. Those are things I can do. I have plenty of breathing room. But when you walked in this morning, how did your calendar look? Not just the big labels, but what about all the email that you had to do? What about the unexpected interruptions of meetings and staff meetings that were called, or a new project that was placed on your desk? How are those things affecting your personal goals? When are you going to schedule time to focus on accomplishing what you want in life? For me, I go to the trainer at 9:45 on Mondays and Wednesdays. I walk at 4:30. I've had to place those things into my calendar. But as you look at your calendar, as you look at the day that you have and the busyness and going to the soccer games and, I don't know, getting those projects done at work, when will you have time to achieve your personal goals? When will you be able to do the walking? When will you be able to do hiring a trainer and going to the gym? When? And I think that's the key, is that goal setting and time management are completely related. I hope that I've given you information on setting goals that is light years ahead of where we've been in the future, in the past. But the next step is going to be understanding how you can take these goals and find time to do that. And so we've created yet another class. It's called Time Management Strategies for 2016. And this is an online learning class. It's an hour and 15 minutes long. But don't you want to move forward? We've given you powerful information. We're going to send you this slide deck and the handouts that go along with it. And we've recorded this so that you can watch it again and again. But how are you going to have time to accomplish those goals? Hopefully, you're going to watch Time Management Strategies for 2016. And this is what it looks like. When you sign up for Time Management Strategies, I've created a series of 12 videos. They're very short because the whole class is 75 minutes long. It begins with a welcome and an overview of how to improve your time management. And then we go into the 10 steps. The first step is the philosophy of improving your time management in just 7 minutes. Just like we've created a philosophy of goal setting, we believe we're creating revolutionary ideas for improving your time management. I think it's interesting that I'm wearing the same shirt today that I filmed that in. The second thing is your life can be different with microactions. You know, we've only had a few minutes to talk about microactions today. What if you had a class that could really teach you how to build those in more detail? The third thing that we're going to be teaching in this class is why 7 minutes. We get that question all the time, and I'm guessing you want to know more about it. Number 4 is probably the biggest question we get is, how do I get rid of my to-do list? How can I get out from under that bottomless to-do list that will give me time to achieve my personal goals? The 5th section is motivation and inner drive. It's a new definition of time management. Time is life. Time is how we experience moment by moment by moment. And I want to make conscious choices that how I spend the time in my day fills me with that motivation and inner drive. The 6th section of this is that I never have enough time. I want to help people acknowledge the pain of stress and anxiety. I feel it too. I never have enough time. I'm learning that I can only do a few things a day, and I want them to be important things. If you're experiencing the pain and anxiety of not having enough time, this class will be very important to help you achieve your goals. The 7th part is using that 15-minute increment tracking worksheet. There are only 24 hours in a day. That little worksheet that we showed you about when will you have time to do this, that'll explain that. The 8th section is managing ADD. Even if you're not diagnosed, managing those distractions that come at us so quickly. We're going to teach you how to deal with those distractions, procrastination, and a lack of attention. I think that's pretty awesome. And the last two sections, number 9, we're going to prioritize your most important tasks so that you can create that 5 before 11 list. This 5 before 11 list, I know it's teeny tiny, of how you can create a written plan of action. And the final part is that we're going to help you move from chaos to productivity by using a written plan of action. As you know, one of the biggest quotes from my first book says, change happens in an instant. It happens the moment you decide to change. Change happens in an instant. It happens the moment you decide to change. You've decided to begin that process by attending this goal setting webinar today to really understand your personal goals. So you can say, yes, I've decided to change. And you can look at us, just as that tiny print says, and understand that the 7-Minute Life is a time management speaking, training, and coaching company. We help people prioritize, organize, and simplify their life at work and at home. We've chosen this logo at the bottom of this page because people want to know what to do first. If you look at those dots, people are living in chaos. They have things pulling them in all different directions, and they just want to prioritize. They want to take their personal goals and break them down into things that they can do every day. And that's what this webinar was all about, is helping you organize the opportunity to reach your goals. But I think it's also time to simplify down to that one dot. How are you going to do what you've said you were going to do? The simplification is not the big goal, not looking from where you are today to where you want to be in the future. The final step is having time to do what you've said you're going to do. Now, this class, the second part of this, is really important information. It's 75 minutes, and we're going to be selling it today for $79. That's $1 a minute, roughly. It normally sells for $99, but if you found this information today powerful, you know you want to have goals, you understand what your goals are, but you don't have the time to accomplish those goals, how hard would it be for you to say, I'm going to invest $79 in my future because I want to have time to do those goals. I want to have time for life. Well, there is an important time limit on this. The sale is going to end in 1 hour. 1 hour from right now, actually 1 hour from 12 o'clock my time, this sale is going to end, and this class is going to go back up to $99. I'm going to ask you to take the next few minutes to buy this program now. If you want your life to change, you have to take action. And this is the website for where you'll go. If you're interested in doing this, I'd like you to open a new browser window, and I'd like you to type in the 7minutelife.com. The number 7minutelife.com /time 2016. I'd like you to open a new browser window and type in that link. And then, or just write it down, the 7minutelife.com, time management 2016. And I'm going to take this back to stop sharing my screen. And so now you can see me full blast. Today we've talked about goals. We've talked about how you can become the person. We've talked about that new part of going from an idea to understanding the gaps, to seeing the goals and going over the bridges. Gaps, goals, and bridges. I'm pretty excited about that. So let's take a couple of polls. These are live. I want to show this first poll, and I'm going to launch it. So, have you already set your personal goals for 2016? Yes or no? Wow. Pretty interesting. These are live. I hope you can see this. Okay, we're seeing that the website to buy this is not working. Try going to the7minutelife.com time management. I'm going to also, I'll pull it back up on my screen in a moment so you can see it if it's not working. All right, so that's the first thing. We had 74 people vote in that. All right, let's go to another poll. I'm having pretty much fun with this. We're going to go to, I'm going to end that poll. 82% do not have goals, and 18% do. That's pretty interesting. I'm going to share that result. I'm hoping you can see that. Is that 19% of the people on this have, I'm sorry, 18% of the people on this class have indicated that they have set personal goals, but 82% have not. So I'm going to stop sharing that. I'm going to see if I can go to poll number 2, and I'm going to launch this poll. All right, the question is, I enjoy setting goals like I enjoy eating gravel, or I enjoy setting goals like walking on the beach. So we're going to see how this turns out. I enjoy setting goals like eating gravel, or I enjoy setting goals like walking on the beach. There are 22 seconds left if you will cast your vote for this. I love this live polling. 32 seconds left. It looks like some people enjoy setting ideas. Oh, good. We're getting some good ideas for goal setting. I'm excited about that. We've got 16 seconds left. Anyone else want to vote? I enjoy setting goals like I like in eating gravel, or I enjoy setting goals like walking on the beach. 4 seconds left. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll, and I'm going to share the results. I'm really glad that setting goals, people enjoy them like eating gravel. And I think part of that is that we just don't know how. But I'm especially excited that today we're going to be giving you things that will help you. I think that will really help you set goals like walking on the beach. I think that's going to be incredibly fun. Okay, here's poll number 3, because I do want to know how you felt about this. Please rate this webinar. And I will be sharing this with you. So we're going to be getting information. We've got 50 seconds left. I think it's really important that, you know, there are things that we want in life. And as we take this last 40 seconds, how many goals should one person set? It depends. I set up to 7, but a lot of people only want to set goals of, you know, 2 or 3 things that they want to accomplish. We've got 20 seconds left. I'm getting pretty excited about how all of this is happening. 10 seconds left to cast your vote. 4 seconds left. 2 seconds. And I know how you are excited about sharing these results, so here they come. As people look at this, 63% thought it was excellent, and I am delighted about that. This is our first Zoom.us meeting. I think it's important. 24% of you thought it was above average, so I'm pretty psyched about that, and only 14% thought it was good. You know, I'll take good every day of the world. People on this webinar are all different. They're in different places. Some people feel like there's just so much more to do. So I'm going to stop sharing that. Now, what's the next step? The next step is that I hope people will go to this website, and I'm going to check and take advantage of this. So let me stop sharing my webinar, and let me go to a new browser window. And I also am going to type that in. New window, www.the7minutelife.com. /time 2016. And let's see what happens. Okay, so there's a dash in there. Let's try this. The7minutelife.com /2016. Okay, time dash 2016. 16. I can't spell today. At least you know that I'm in this together with you. All right. Good gracious. Aren't you glad that I can't type? All right, so there we go. It's the dash. So there it is. We'll be sending that out in the chat. If some of my team members can put that out, we'll also be sending out the link. You will have 1 hour from now. I'm showing that it is 11 a.m. You'll have 1 hour from today. I want to thank you for being here. Again, if you've enjoyed this, make sure you forward that the registration out to a lot of other people. So now we are going to cancel this meeting. We'd love to hear from you. Send us things on Facebook. Let us know what's happening. We do have a recording. Send us emails, and we'll see you the very next time. Thanks so much for joining us. And now I'm going to stop recording and end the meeting. Hope to see you next time. Send us a message, info@the7-Minute Life. We'll be sending out that link. See you next time.